to Alaska later on this summer. So anyway, we're here tonight, and that's all that matters. And I gotta tell you, of all the things that I expected to see in the headlines today, this was not one of the things I thought that I would see today. The headline: Kyrie Irving among 5 ruled out as Mavericks, quote, change course. The Mavericks earlier today announced that Kyrie Irving, Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, Maxi Kleber, and Christian Wood would all sit out against the Bulls, essentially for what is being called precautionary reasons. This despite the fact that if the Mavericks win their last 2 games and Oklahoma City loses on Sunday to the Memphis Grizzlies, the Mavericks would be the 10th seed and would qualify for the play-in tournament. After everything this team's gone through this year, you trade for Kyrie to try and give yourself a chance to get to the postseason. You want to give Luka an opportunity. Now you've just basically mailed it in. And I can't imagine Adam Silver watching this from close up, watching this from afar, watching this from anywhere. Isn't sitting there scratching his head, isn't sitting there out of his mind. And I don't know how you're Mark Cuban, how you could face your fan base. Dallas is tied with the Bulls for the 10th best lottery odds. And they owe the Knicks a top 10 protected pick as the final payment for the Kristaps Porzingis trade. Doesn't make any sense. Quote from Jason Kidd: "We were fighting for our lives and understanding this is a situation we're in, but the organization has made the decision to change," Jason Kidd said during pregame media availability. "So, we have to go by that, and that's something that happens. So the guys that are playing, we got to go out there and put our best foot forward, and we talked about that this afternoon. And the guys that are playing are going to go out and try to play to win. You got to be pros. You can't cheat the game." Your team did cheat the game. And by the way, I don't blame Jason Kidd on this. I do give some blame to Jason Kidd for the fact that this team has been a disaster defensively this year. But the fact that Mark Cuban and this organization, because let's be honest, I don't care what you say about, oh, it's the GM. It's this decision, a decision this big to basically mail it in, that comes from way up at the top. That doesn't come from anybody else other than Mark Cuban. And even with all that being said tonight, even with the fact that the organization has basically mailed it in, the Mavericks lead the Bulls 86-76 tonight because the Bulls have also mailed it in. The Bulls aren't playing anybody because the Bulls are already in the postseason. So the Bulls, essentially don't care. They don't need the game. They'd rather rest up for the play-in tournament. Chicago is the 10th team. They are tournament bound. And whereas you have all 10 spots basically locked up in the Eastern Conference in terms of who's going to either be in the play-in tournament or who's going to be in the playoffs, whereas all of that has been decided, in the West, the only thing that's been locked up with 1 or 2 games to go in the season is the top 4 spots in the Western Conference. And that's amazing. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that in the NBA, and we have it going on this year. It's wild. It really is. It's fantastic. The telephone number to contact us during the show tonight, 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. If you want to hit us up on the text line, you can do that too, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. 4-9 in that game tonight. And we will keep tabs on it with Dallas at home leading Chicago 88-78. Luka has 13 with 2:33 to go in the second quarter. I mean, they are literally the Mavericks playing everybody. I mean, I wonder if the order from Mark Cuban is you have to lose this game. Like, I wonder if it's a situation like we saw with Lovie Smith in Houston. I wonder if it's a situation where if Jason Kidd and them win out and actually make the play-in tournament, is Mark Cuban going to fire Jason Kidd? Jason Kidd! Is Mark Cuban going to fire him? Because it sounds like he doesn't want the team to make the playoffs. It sounds to me like he's openly advocating for tanking. Or not so openly advocating for tanking. And Luka's only played 13 minutes tonight. Luka started and he's only played 13 minutes. We'll get inside and see if there's any reason why that is the case. But the Mavericks reserves refuse to let them lose right now. They're actually up in this game. And they've actually got a shot to still make this game on Sunday mean something for them, mean something for Memphis, mean something for Oklahoma City. I mean, this is wild stuff. And again, I want to know. I want to know what the NBA is thinking as one of its biggest stars, one of its biggest stars in the league, two of its biggest stars in the league, if you really count Kyrie, who is as enigmatic as he is still a star in the league. I wonder what the thinking is around league headquarters in New York tonight as the Mavericks do everything they can to miss the postseason. There's no way it's good for the league. There's no way you can convince me on any level that it's good for the league to have Oklahoma City in the playoffs and not Dallas. I mean, who's going to move the needle more? Oklahoma City or Dallas? And you know the answer. And I say this as somebody that loves to watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has been fantastic, who's had a great year. All of that is fantastic. But there's no way you can convince me that it isn't better for the NBA to have Luka and Kyrie play. And I'm fascinated to know what it means for Jason Kidd and his future in Dallas. I mean, do you even want to be there if this is a change in course? Does this mean the team's going to keep Jason Kidd? Does it mean they're going to trade him away, let him walk in free agency in this offseason? On Tuesday, Luka rejected the idea of sitting down the stretch as a tanking measure to protect the Mavericks' lottery position. Quote, "When there's still a chance I'm going to play," Luka said Tuesday. And now tonight, clearly, he has been put on the bench. He's clearly being asked not to play tonight. Unless there is some injury that I am unaware of. And I don't see anything in my Twitter. I don't see anything that suggests Luka is injured tonight. Here it is. Tim McMahon tonight posting this over at ESPN. Luka Doncic stayed in to start the second quarter, got a bucket, took a foul, and checked out. His season is over, barring a change in plans. Wow. Maybe the Mavericks were trying to get him a standing ovation, McMahon tweeted. That didn't happen. There was a smattering of confused clapping. Wow. That is amazing. All right, we're coming back. We'll update you on the odds, the Masters. Crazy day there. We'll explain. It's the Cash In. We're all about live betting and betting in general here on the show. So we like to update you on what's going on the betting front as it relates to the NBA, anything going on in baseball. It's a Friday night. A lot of teams opened their home schedule today because of bad weather yesterday on the East Coast, so there was a lot of day baseball today. I don't know how many night games there are actually going on today. I know there are some, but I don't know how many day games we actually have going on, or night games going on. There are a few, though. Padres lead the Braves 5-4 as they play in the bottom of the ninth, with San Diego looking to close it out with Josh Hader. Cardinals trail the Brewers 3-0 in the top of the seventh. Mackenzie Gore spinning a good one. Bottom of the fifth in Colorado with the Nationals leading the Rockies 8-2. Dodgers on top of the Diamondbacks 2-1 in the bottom of the second. Blue Jays and Angels are scoreless in the bottom of the first. That's what we got going on in the late slate tonight. A couple of games here on the West Coast. One in Phoenix, one in Los Angeles with the Angels and the Blue Jays. The phone number, 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You hit us up on the text line if you want as well, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. What do you make of the Mavericks? I don't know how on any level, and, there is a history here with Mark Cuban. I had forgotten about this until I was reading up on it. But Mark Cuban paid a $600,000 fine in 2018 for publicly admitting that the Mavericks were tanking. And he doesn't have to say it this time around. They've basically said they're tanking. He doesn't have to use those words. His actions tell you the guy is tanking. The guys don't want to do that, Cuban said. Players aren't going to do that. Players don't do that. On Wednesday night, he said, of course, I understand the thought process from fans. Protecting the lottery position is Dallas's smartest strategy down the stretch. I just have to wonder if Jason Kidd walks away. I mean, you tell a guy to go coach for 80 games, and then in the 81st game when you still have a shot to make the playoffs. And it's not as if it's like an impossible scenario for Dallas to get in. It's not an impossible scenario for them to win out here. And if they do, and Oklahoma City chokes up against Memphis on Sunday, the Mavericks get in. You would have Luka in the postseason. I get the idea that, their team is top 10, their draft pick is top 10 protected, meaning, they lose the draft pick if they make the playoffs. That's essentially what you're saying. But this is just lunacy to me. And I don't know how the NBA allows for it to happen. And you finish the season on top of it with San Antonio. You finish the season with another winnable game. You're telling me Oklahoma City you don't think Oklahoma City is capable of losing on Sunday? I think in Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. It's just, I don't understand it. I don't know how it's good for morale, for the organization, for the team, people in the front office, everybody. I don't know how anybody could think it's not a smart business decision. And if I were Maverick fans, I wouldn't show up. Why would you even go? When your organization is telling you, we quit. They gave up on you. Forget all the money, all the time you invested in this team this year. Doesn't matter. We're done. They still might win tonight and throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. Again, it's 98-89. It really is the most fascinating game to watch tonight, to see if Dallas can hang on for a win and kind of spoil the plans for Mark Cuban, because you've got players that have essentially said, nope, we don't care if you're tanking. We're still going to try to win. And everybody on the Mavericks bench is just lighting it up tonight. Markieff Morris is 13. Davis Bertans has 11. All these scrubs on the Mavericks bench, guys that don't even play a lot. Justin Holiday's got 9. JaVale McGee, Shaqtin' the Fool, he's got 9. I'm telling you, I don't know how big of a story this will be on Masters weekend. I don't know how big of a story this will be on Masters weekend, but this is essentially a team tanking, doing everything it can to quit, and the players on the team saying, hell no, we are not giving up on this thing, and trying their best to still figure out a way to get into the postseason. It's just crazy. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted on it. Now it's 98-92 Dallas with 8:15 to go in the fourth. We'll see if NBA TV flashes the game on as well, and if they do, we'll obviously let you know. Elsewhere in the NBA tonight, just to give you an update on some things, Phoenix and the Lakers, big game for the Lakers, game number 81 for them at home against the Suns. And look, as far as playoff positioning is concerned right now, it's still right there for the Lakers to get the 6th seed if they win out and the Warriors drop a game, because the Lakers own the tiebreaker with the Warriors. So here are the Lakers tonight. The Warriors are in action against Sacramento, and that game in Sacramento, and as we know, the Warriors have not been good away from Chase Arena. Warriors 18, Sacramento 9 in the early going. We'll keep you posted on that game tonight. The Warriors are 9-30 on the road this year. So betting on Sacramento would probably not have been a bad move, but of course, with all that being said, that still means there's a chance for Golden State, and we'll keep tabs on it. I haven't gotten into the Masters stuff yet. I'll do that coming up in a couple of minutes. Talk about what was a wild day at Augusta National. Trees falling, Brooks Koepka rising up the leaderboard, and the PGA Tour's worst nightmare potentially coming to fruition with Brooks Koepka basically halfway home as it pertains to trying to win another green jacket in a year where Live Golf versus the PGA Tour has been such a big story, not because of the media, but because of the guys who left, because of the guys who decided to take the money. And a lot of us wondered, could these Live golfers put together 4 rounds anymore? Because they don't have to. All they do is play 3 rounds in shorts in these cash guaranteed tournaments that are held every 2 or 3 weeks. How are these guys going to come out in one of the toughest tests in all of golf? Well, everything's broken right for Brooks Koepka so far at the Masters. And he's got himself a big lead with the second round still to resume on Saturday. And oh yeah, by the way, Tiger Woods on the cut line. And again, I said it yesterday, it gives me no joy to report this. He has basically become a ceremonial participant at the Masters. Yay, Tiger's going to make the cut. He'll be here for the weekend. You might catch the last 2 holes of his round on CBS on Sunday. Yay. Sad. It's tough to watch. Not going to lie. Said it last night on the show. No, I guess we're not, Justin. Justin Barbosa, by the way, is our producer engineer tonight. I forgot to mention that. Thanks for chiming in. Yeah, no, looks like we're not hitting on any of the Tiger bets. But he might make the cut. I mean, I think the bet on him to make the cut was like minus 170 or something like that. It was fairly good, the odds for him. All right, we'll come back. We'll update you on what's going on. Dallas and Chicago's getting closer. Wonder if the Dallas Mavericks have been ordered to just mail it in. We're coming back. Texting with Kurt Halen about this. Yeah.
I mean, give me another team in history where one of the star players socked one of the up and coming star players right before training camp. Look around the league. Load management's the big issue. The Golden State Warriors, you think they're doing this on purpose with the stinky road record, 9-100, it feels like? So, Jason, every team in the history of the league gets this final exam. Let me show you who we really are in the playoffs. And that's the final exam. There's been some turbulence, but to say it's bad for the league, Nick, that
Chung, can you hand me my iPad out of my bag? Thanks for being with us tonight. I still can't believe this is happening. And this is such blatant tanking. This is a team so blatantly giving up on the season that I don't know how, if you're the league, how you don't come down with the harshest penalty imaginable. I don't know how you don't come down with the harshest penalty imaginable against the Dallas Mavericks for this. They trail now 108-102. After basically leading all game, Dallas now trails 108-102, as apparently the order has been given that you just have to quit. That Jason Kidd's probably told them, sorry, guys. The orders come down from above. That you've got to give up. It's just... I can't get over it. I really can't. I can't believe this is happening in the NBA. It's absolutely crazy to me, but that's where we are. Let's see, what's the score here? I got it on in the background. 110-102 with 3 minutes left. Chicago up on Dallas. I expect Jason Kidd's going to probably step down. Because I don't know how any self-respecting coach, how any former player, how a Hall of Famer like Jason Kidd can choose to stay with an organization that basically decided tonight that having the 10th overall pick in the draft, which after two guys in Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson really doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. After they let Jalen Brunson walk out the door last year, after they traded all their draft capital that they had left after the trade for Porzingis, who's not even on the team anymore, to the Knicks. I cannot wrap my head around this. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. And we'll see. We'll have to see if a decision comes down from the league in terms of potentially going after the Mavericks organization. And again, to Mark Cuban, who cares? $600,000 is a drop in the bucket. I mean, if you know anything about Mark Cuban and how much money he's worth, they can find him whatever they want. They can find him the maximum under the league, which is probably $1 million, $2 million. What does he care? It's just not a big deal to him. Warriors on top of the Kings 30-16. We'll keep tabs on that game tonight as it is relevant to the overall scheme of things in the Western Conference. We'll tell you what's going on in that game. 32-16. I'll tell you, and this is a Warriors team that has had a propensity for switch flipping this year. And at times, looking like it's unmotivated, they look motivated tonight. They've given up 16 to basically the highest scoring team in the NBA. 16 points. It's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive. So we'll keep tabs on that. 32-16. Warriors in front of the Mavericks. Warriors in front of the Kings as they are in the closing seconds of the first quarter. And again, defense has been the big bugaboo for the Warriors this year in terms of consistency on the defensive side of the ball. And tonight, that is not an issue. Wow. All right, so I said I'd tell you what was going on at the Masters. And I will. Brooks Koepka is leading the way right now through his first two rounds, not the first two rounds, because right now there is still a lot of golf left to be played in the second round for a lot of golfers that didn't get to finish as a result of inclement weather and down trees. And let me tell you, when you see the video, and it's all over the internet. When you see the video of trees literally falling in slow, and it's almost as if the trees fell in slow motion. Imagine going to the Masters. Imagine if somebody had been hit and killed by that tree. Oh, how'd you die? A tree fell on him at the Masters. But hey, at least he was at his favorite golf tournament. It was my dream to go to the Masters until a tree fell on me. Thankfully, nobody was even injured. Nobody was even injured as a result of trees falling. And, I mean, there were golfers watching as it happened. But again, luckily there was warning. You could actually hear the snapping of limbs. And these giant pines came crashing down on this historic venue. And again, thankfully, nobody was hurt, but they decided to call it for the day with a couple hours of daylight still left. Brooks Koepka is leading the way at 12 under, 5 under on his round. And look, the timing was just right for him. He teed off late in the first round. He teed off late in the second round. Teed off late in the first round. Teed off late in the first round, early in the second round. And that timing, combined with the fact that he's playing good golf right now, was the big difference. So Brooks Koepka, your leader right now at the Masters. Jon Rahm is 3 shots back, 2 under on his second round. He still has 9 holes to play. He is 3 shots off the pace. Amateur Sam Bennett. This could be a story all weekend with a amateur in the mix to potentially win at the Masters. And not a lot of people know who Sam Bennett is. He's an amateur, as they like to say, in name only. Only 2 amateurs have even gotten into second place while competing at the Masters. And Sam Bennett right now is one of those. And he's going to be in contention this weekend. We'll talk some NASCAR coming up in about 7 minutes. Jerry Bonkowski will join us. Whenever we do shows on Friday, we like to talk to Jerry. They're dirt track racing in Bristol this weekend. Dirt track racing. That actually seems like it'd be a lot of fun and worth watching. So Sam Bennett, we'll see how he fares this weekend. So he's a few shots back. I mentioned Tiger Woods. And, of course, Tiger is a big part of the story. But right now he is at 2 over. He is on the cut line as they play. And that's going to be the cut line, given the fact that nobody's probably going to get a better score than Brooks Koepka, who's at 12 under. So Tiger still in the mix to play this weekend. So I'm keeping tabs on this Bulls-Mavericks game. 23.6 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Chicago leads Dallas 115-112. Wow. Mavericks, give credit to those players, man. The guys that are out there still trying to make Sunday's game mean something for this team. So it'll be Mavericks ball down 3 in the fourth quarter with 23 and 1/10 seconds to go. And again, I just can't imagine what Mark Cuban's thinking, what Jason Kidd is thinking in all of this. Well, Theo Pinson misses a 29-footer from 3. I mean, if you're Mark Cuban, could you even be at that game tonight? Could you even be in the arena in that situation? I don't know how you could face the fans. Pinson misses the 3. Rebound, Chicago. Mavericks give up the foul. I want to know if Cuban's even there. We'll come back, talk some NASCAR. We'll update you on the final result of this Mavericks-Bulls game. What a disgrace. We're coming back. SportsMap Radio. Oh, my God. He missed the first free throw. Jesus. No, it's not. No, I'm saying Bulls are up 3 with 2 free throws. They missed the first with 17.8 seconds left. He missed both. Oh, my God. He missed both. That's crazy. Jesus. That's wild. That answers that question.
I am so sorry. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, it's okay. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just hold on tight here. We'll get to you in 1 second.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
That's it. It's a final. Chicago wins 115-112. Jesus. I'm just absolutely blown away. Yep. Of course it does, tool. "15 minutes till the top of the hour." We continue on SportsMap Radio. Well, it's a final 115-112. Bulls beat the Mavericks. And I'm telling you, we'll get into it a little more later on, but that is just what's going on there tonight in Dallas is an out-and-out disgrace. All right, let's spend some time with Jerry Bonkowski, our good friend who does a terrific job with NASCAR, editor with NASCAR.com, Auto Week as well. Gives us some time on the show tonight here on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. I got to admit, I can't think of anything much more fun than a bunch of guys who are used to driving on, perfectly paved roads in perfect circles and perfect weather than these guys having to drive around on a dirt track this weekend in Bristol. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun. And, the thing is, NASCAR's really hit on a very popular thing for fans, media, the drivers themselves, the teams. I mean, everybody likes this concept of driving on dirt at Bristol. And, this is not an easy thing for the track to put on. It's a lot of work. I mean, it takes them about 3 weeks to build a track like that, putting the dirt down on top of the asphalt and things like that. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. The big key, obviously, at this time of year, always in Bristol, is weather. So hopefully the weather will cooperate. I mean, it is a little bit unusual that it's being held on Easter Sunday evening. A lot of people go to work on Monday, but we're hoping it'll be a good weather and we'll have a good race for sure.
Does it even matter, though? I mean, I know it matters in terms of the conditions and what it's like for the drivers, but this isn't like a typical NASCAR race where if it rains, they pull the drivers off. They're out there whether it's mud or not, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. But the point is that, does that diminish, if you will, the fun of the race or the quality of the race if we do have a lot of dirt or a lot of mud, rather? And if there's weather, involved, rain involved, if it gets it all really muddy and sloshy and all that kind of thing. So, from a fun standpoint, it's going to be fun no matter what, dry or wet. But it could impact. A muddy track could impact the outcome of the race. That's probably the best way to phrase it.
What is the greatest challenge rather to racing on dirt? Is it passing? Like, I mean, what is the hardest thing? Or, is it having to sort of lean into the slide when it's something you're not used to doing? Like, what is the greatest challenge for these guys when it comes to racing on dirt?
Well, I think a lot of these guys, especially the younger guys, actually of all guys, I should say, that's probably a better way to say it, is almost all these guys have some experience on dirt coming up, in the ranks. I mean, before they got to NASCAR Cup, were they, in racing, late models or modifieds or whatever, in the short tracks when they were, in their late teens, early 20s, before they became, big stars, that kind of thing. So they have, a lot of these guys do have experience in that. They know how to race in a track like this. But, the other thing that, and this is kind of, my own personal, I don't know if you want to call it a prejudice or what you want to call it, but the thing I'm concerned about, and we saw this especially last year, and I hope we don't see it this year, is that, as the race goes on, and, we're talking a 500 lap race, 250 miles roughly, give or take, is that the dirt goes away. And you see a lot of, and on the track itself, you'll see a lot of the pavement, the actual asphalt, is there, and then you go right back to the dirt, then you go back to the asphalt, then you go back to the dirt, and that's a little, to me, that kind of took away a little bit from last year's race. Now, did they add more dirt for this year's race? I don't know. I mean, the one thing I was thinking of is, and I don't know if it would be technically possible to do, is could they maybe add more dirt if they have to, have let's say a dirt caution, if you will? I mean, could they bring a few trucks in and put down more dirt? Because, a lot of the dirt, especially if the weather is just perfect, where there's wind and, the dirt is not staying packed down, it makes it seem like, okay, well, it's like they're racing on a track that is only half dirt, if you know what I'm saying. So, again, that's my own personal opinion, but it kind of took a little bit away from last year's race. Hopefully this year there'll be plenty of dirt and the weather will be fine and the dirt will stay packed down and these guys will have a lot of fun spinning and going around in the turns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually watching the highlights from late in the race last year when Chase Briscoe, basically went for the pass on race leader Tyler Reddick, and as a result, Kyle Busch wound up getting the win. And as you're looking at the video of it, you could actually see what you're talking about, where there's these patches where you can almost see, where the track was most used. You actually do see some of that pavement.
And not only that, though, I mean, it really throws off the equilibrium of your car if you're on dirt and then you go to all of a sudden you find yourself in the patch where there is asphalt. It throws up the stagger on your car. It throws up the balance in your car, and it makes for a little bit more of a difficult attempt for the drivers to win. And it's funny you should mention the Busch thing. I wanted to mention that too. I mean, it was kind of like one of those things where you have the two guys going at each other, and here's Kyle just kind of sitting there being patient. Where if this had been 10 years ago, Kyle would not have been patient. He would have been, biding his. He would not have been biding his time, but he bided his time, and he winds up, going past the two guys. So it was really a fun finish to the race. Yeah, maybe not for the two guys that got taken out, so to speak, but it was definitely a fun finish for the fans, a fun finish for Kyle Busch as well, too. So I like the way that outcome came to play out. It was kind of like an old Three Stooges routine, hey Mo, hey Larry, and then here comes Curly along, So.
Jerry Bonkowski is our guest. NASCAR does a great job with NASCAR.com. Also, Auto Week here on the Cash In SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app with this weekend's Food City Dirt Race going on in Bristol. Kyle Larson is your favorite at plus 550. Tyler Reddick is next up, followed by Christopher Bell, and then you see the familiar name of Chase Briscoe. Kyle Busch is actually listed, I believe, as the 7th best favorite. Who do you like this weekend and why?
The two guys I like are obviously Kyle Larson, of course, and then Christopher Bell. I mean, he's got a long resume of racing on dirt, and that's to his advantage. But then again, Larson does too. Larson has spent so much time. That's kind of his second career, his hobby, if you will. When he's not racing NASCAR, he's typically found on dirt somewhere. So you got to go with the guys who are successful on dirt and have a good appreciation of it, a good knowledge of it, a good way to get around dirt tracks. And in dirt tracks, they seem like they're the same. It's just a dirt surface. Well, it's not. I mean, every track is different. And what you see at Bristol is a lot different than what you might see on, let's say, Eldora, and that's a true dirt track. That kind of thing. So I do like Briscoe. I think he's also got a good possibility of being there. Reddick looks good. This could also be one of those races, though, where a surprise finish comes out of nowhere. I mean, you could see a guy maybe like a Michael McDowell or maybe, a Kevin Harvick. I mean, there's a lot of guys that if they get in the right position at the right time, they can find themselves in much like last year. If you're in the right position at the right time, you're going to be Kyle Busch, essentially. So it's going to be a kind of a race that I think that fans are going to really enjoy tuning into. It's going to probably be about 3.5 hour, 4 hour race, maybe give or take. And, the weather is an issue. And if there's going to be a lot of cautions, that's going to make it an even longer race. But I think we're going to see a pretty exciting race on the list, Jason. I
got about 60 seconds here. NASCAR announced on Thursday more violations for Hendrick Motorsports. What is it this time?
That's a good question. I mean, NASCAR, I don't know, it seems very difficult that Hendrick, after all these years of very little problems with being penalized, all of a sudden is getting more and more penalties this year. I mean, this is the third major penalty they've had. So I don't know, is NASCAR being more, scrutinizing Hendrick Motorsports more? Is Hendrick, trying to play more in the gray area and they're getting caught in it? I mean, obviously NASCAR with the new car, they don't want to see any major deviations, and Hendrick used to be the king of deviations when it came to looking for different things for advantages to win. So maybe that's it. I don't know, but I think that Hendrick is going to learn a good lesson with all these violations, and they're probably going to have to figure out, well, maybe we shouldn't push the envelope as much as we have been pushing the envelope.
Jerry Bonkowski, check out his work, NASCAR.com, also with Auto Week. Enjoy the race this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun on Easter night, and I'm looking forward to checking it out myself.
Exactly. It's going to be a good one. So thanks very much for having me on, Jason. As always, appreciate it.
All the time, my friend. Jerry Bonkowski joining us here on the show. That's how we wrap up hour number 1 of the program. I can't wait to hear what comes out of the post-game pressers involving the Dallas Mavericks tonight. I mean, wow. And our show airs in Dallas on their flagship station in the final 2 hours. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be gentle. We're coming back. More of the Cash In. Stay tuned. Hey, Jerry, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Hey, real quick, what happened in Dallas, right? What's going on down there?
The Mavericks decided to tank tonight. Before the game, they decided they were going to sit all their best players, even though they still had a chance to make the playoffs, because they didn't want to lose. If they got into the playoffs, the draft pick that they have would go to the Knicks if it's anything beyond 10. And, I mean, they basically decided to quit with 2 games left. And they basically admitted it. So, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Absolutely. Bye-bye. is he? Yes. Yeah. Jeez. Active shooter in the University of Oklahoma campus. Yep. Babe. Okay. Another hour starts right now on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. I know I don't typically talk about things out of the sports realm all that much, but just mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. You got another active shooter situation in America tonight. This one on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. And thoughts going out to everybody there. Hopefully everybody comes out of it okay. Just mind-blowing that you continue to have these things in America. It's part of the backdrop of everybody's lives. I mean, you've literally got tweets going out from the university telling people. This is from the University of Oklahoma that they tweeted out 35 minutes ago. OU Norman emergency. There is an active shooter at the Van Vliet Oval. Take immediate action now. Run, hide, fight. Yeah, this is normal. This is normal in America. I don't know how. I don't know why. You know, I travel to other countries around the world, and I get to, you know, I'm lucky enough to be able to travel and see other parts of the world, and every time I run into somebody who isn't from this country, they all say, what is wrong with you? Like, how is this okay with you? How is this normal? And it's going on tonight. So we'll see what's going on. Hopefully it isn't. Well, we'll see. There's a lot of different reports out there. We'll wait and see what comes of it tonight. The telephone number, 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You want to tweet at the show, go ahead and do it at the back page. If you want to reach out to us on the text line, feel free, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. I can't wait to see what is said in the post game for the Dallas Mavericks. I want to know what Jason Kidd is saying. I want to know what everybody's saying. Because this is one of those nights where I'm try and pull up the Mavericks post game. This is one of those nights that the Mavericks have won a championship with Dirk Nowitzki. And, so this is an organization that knows what winning is like. And to watch what's happened to them over the last several years, and in particular now since they got Luka Doncic, and we obviously know how big a star he is, and to basically tell him and everybody else that you've decided to quit, that you've decided to give up on the season, the way that organization did tonight. And I don't know if we're on in Dallas yet because they might be carrying the post game, but I want to have a conversation with people in our Dallas audience tonight because I think what has happened there is just an out-and-out disgrace for that organization to basically tell its fans, yeah, you know what, the 10th pick is more important to us than trying to make the playoffs. Look, if you wind up not getting there, and there's a whole conversation we could have about what went wrong this year in Dallas with the Mavericks and what it means for the future. And if they had gone out tonight with Luka, and I don't think they would have lost with Luka and Kyrie on the floor for an entire game, and that's obvious when you consider the fact they basically lost by 3 with their backups against the Chicago Bulls backups. But you essentially had a situation tonight where the Dallas Mavericks made a conscious decision to try not to make the playoffs. All for what? The 10th pick? A couple extra ping pong balls? Their chances of getting Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson are remote still. They're going to get the least amount of ping pong balls. So to me, it just doesn't make sense why you would literally tell your fan base that you quit. And that's essentially what they did tonight. So we'll wait and see when we get on board with the Mavericks, the flagship of the Mavericks, 97.1 The Freak, where our show airs on Monday through Friday. The last 2 hours of our show airs there. So we'll wait and have a conversation with that audience about that. Coming up in a little bit. Thank you to Jerry Bonkowski for joining us. It's so wild that NASCAR has a race where they actually race on dirt. An actual NASCAR race on dirt. I think that is one of the most fascinating things. So we'll have some fun watching that on Sunday night. And I don't typically watch NASCAR races, but that's one. You got to watch it. Because you never know what's going to happen with these guys when they're racing on dirt. And I'm watching highlights from it last year with guys just basically sliding around the track. And if the weather's as bad as they're going to say, it's really going to be interesting to watch. We're at the half right now in Sacramento. The Kings trail the Warriors 53-48. That is a big game combined with the Lakers tonight, who are at home against Phoenix. Suns lead the Lakers 34-30. A Golden State loss combined with a Lakers win would mean that the Lakers are back in control of the 6th seed with one game to play for both they and the Golden State Warriors. Golden State is 42-38. The Lakers are 41-39. If the Lakers win, they have the tiebreaker with Golden State. So the Lakers could still get to number 6 in the West. Although, I see, now here again, I don't know how it works with the Pelicans, too. Pelicans season series against the Warriors. There's just so many. There's so many scenarios in this whole thing that it really does get confusing. But let me just look at this real quick. Pelicans against the Lakers this year, they lost. They're 0-1. Pelicans against the Lakers this year, they are 1-1. Pelicans against the Lakers this year. Okay, so they're 1-2. So yeah, the Lakers own the season series against the Pelicans. So if the Lakers win tonight, they're in control of their destiny as it relates to the play-in tournament versus being in the actual top 6. So that's what you got going on for the Lakers tonight. That's what's at stake for them, and obviously that tells you everything you need to know why this is a big game for this team tonight, why they're still trying to play it out. Get LeBron a couple extra days rest. Keep in mind something about this Lakers team. When you think about the fact they're 41-39, the Lakers started out the year 2-10. Remember? I mean, we were all just talking about how bad could it get? How long would Darvin Ham keep his job? Who are they going to trade away? All these different things. The Lakers were 2-10. And since that point in time, over the next 70 games, they've played pretty good basketball when you start to think about it. And they've gone through some stretches. They have been a streaky team. But now they've won 7 of their last 9 going into tonight. And again, their last 2 games are at home against Phoenix and then Utah. And Utah's playing for ping pong balls as well. So in all likelihood, that is a game that Utah would probably mail it in on. So if the Lakers win tonight and the Warriors lose, I think the scenario sets up pretty well for the Lakers to wind up as the 6th seed. I don't know what the odds are in Vegas on all that. We could check it out coming up in the next segment. Live betting, by the way, right now, Lakers are -7.5. That's all you need to know. Lakers are down 2 with 8:27 to go in the second quarter, and the Lakers are now -8.5, despite the fact that they trail in that game. Because everybody knows the Suns have nothing to play for. It's very tricky trying to bet these games, though. I mean, imagine if you had money on the Mavericks, and you basically watched them tank to get the 10th pick in the draft, essentially. I mean, that's, wow. That's pretty disgraceful. That is pretty disgraceful. Again, we're keeping an eye out for Mavericks post-game because I want to see what Dallas has to say after a loss tonight where they essentially gave away the game to try and get themselves the 2nd overall, or rather the 10th overall pick in the draft. So we'll keep an eye on the post game and see what kind of sound comes out of there. Both Jason Kidd, everybody else involved with that organization. And you can guarantee there's going to be, the league is going to come down hard on the Dallas Mavericks after this decision. To essentially say we've given up. I mean, think about if you paid for tickets to go to that game tonight. Or if you've paid to go to the game on Sunday. Like I said, the best thing Mavericks fans could do on Sunday is not show up. Take money out of Mark Cuban's pocket. The parking, the concessions. Why would you go? Why would you dignify what he's decided to do with this team? You'd have a chance on Sunday to be playing to get into the play-in tournament in a Western Conference that most people would admit is still wide open. It's crazy. All right, stick around. We're coming back. Latest odds. Much more to do. The Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Stay with us.
I keep checking to see when we're on in Dallas because I think it's a night for Mavericks fans to just vent, to just let it all out. I don't normally do shows for any of our particular markets. I love our listeners everywhere: Austin, Hawaii, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Detroit. I mean, we're on all over the place. Denver, Northern California. I mean, we're all over the place. But Phoenix, I got to say, this is one of those nights where I think Mavericks fans, you have a right to vent. That's when essentially your owner of your NBA franchise basically said, we're quitting, and we're quitting because we want the 10th pick in the draft, which is going to get you what? This has been a colossal failure in Dallas this year. So anyway, the phone number is 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. The text line, if you want to text us from anywhere in America, 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549 if you want to hit us up on the text line. Feel free. I'm keeping an eye on Mavericks postgame, though, to see if Jason Kidd or anybody else has anything to say. It's funny, I was watching the highlight of the Mavericks' last attempt to try and hit a three, and they showed Mark Cuban on the sideline looking like he's, just anguished at the fact that they're losing. You made the decision. You made the decision to keep your two best players on the bench tonight, and then you're going to act like you're in anguish over the fact that you're losing this game? You don't care. You wanted to lose. You demanded they lose. Not only that,
Imagine being Jason Kidd tonight, even if you were trying to urge these guys to go out there and win that game, despite the fact that your owner said you're trying not to win the game, and your owner is sitting 3 seats down from the bench. I mean, it's insane. There's so many things wrong with what happened tonight in Dallas. There's so many things wrong with what happened. Hey, at least they can go to Reggie Bullock's island in Belize. Did you hear about that? Justin, did you hear about that? I just read about this today. I don't know how I was like the last to, I'm always the last to know. It's the way it goes. Reggie Bullock, pull this up real quick. Reggie Bullock of the Mavericks has his own private island in Belize. You always hear about like the tax benefits of Belize. You should own in Belize. Well, Reggie Bullock owns an island in Belize. So they aren't going to Cancun like everybody says when their season ends. They're going to Belize. I don't even think Reggie Bullock, I think he was one of the guys that probably didn't even play tonight. But apparently, it's not uncommon for NBA players to, put their money on luxury homes, cars, things of that nature. He bought an island in Belize. He said, I've been looking for different things to invest my money in, Bullock told Anscape recently. I found an opportunity down in Belize where I purchased an island that was about 5 acres, and I'm going to put resort villas on. It's a vacation spot for me and my family where other people will be able to attend and enjoy different vacation activities. You know what the crazy thing is? If you asked me where Belize is, like told me to point to it on a map, I don't think I could tell you. Do you know where Belize is on a map, Justin? See? I feel the same way. Hell, up until I met my husband, I didn't know where Singapore was on a map. I'm looking at it right now. Here's Belize. Oh, I see where it is. It's sort of like Central America. Near Guatemala, Honduras. So if you go just like south of Mexico, it's like right after Mexico if you keep going south. Yeah. If you go to it's like Guatemala, Belize, Honduras. Maybe I'll get a home in Belize. How expensive could it be to buy a home in Belize, huh? How much are houses in Belize? Let's see. Houses in Belize. It's a great thing to be looking up while I'm on the show. Property for sale in Belize, $500,000. Oh, wow, it's cheap. It's cheap to live in Belize. If anybody knows anything about Belize, let me know. 800-224-2004. That would, let me tell you, and if somebody does call and knows anything about Belize, I'll be very impressed. 800-224-2004. Or you can text us at 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. All right, I promised we would update you on what's going on in the NBA because there are 2 big games going on right now in the Western Conference. Warriors lead the Kings 56-50 with 11:28 to play in the third quarter. So the Warriors got out to a big lead in that game. See, now here's what's interesting. And I haven't looked at the box score as this game's been going along. But I'm curious, is Sacramento playing all their stars tonight? Or are they resting guys? See, I don't have the... Oh, yeah, no, they're playing everybody. Okay. Kings are showing some integrity. They're trying to win. Yep, Kings are playing everybody. Warriors being led right now by Stephen Curry, who has 13. Klay Thompson with 10. Jonathan Kuminga also has 10. It's been a pretty good defensive effort for the Warriors in this game so far. Kings shooting just 35% from the field in this game. So a Warriors loss combined with a Lakers win tonight will put the Lakers with 1 game to play on Sunday in position in the West in the 6th spot, which means they could avoid the play-in tournament, which would be enormous when you consider that any extra rest you can get LeBron James is a good thing for him. Phoenix leads the Lakers 50-49 That game with 4:26 to go in the second quarter. The Lakers in that game, just to give you an update, we got, let's see, LeBron has 6. D'Angelo Russell has 12. Austin Reeves has 11. Suns are not playing their stars tonight. So, I mean, look, it's basically sitting right there for the Lakers in terms of getting the win on their side. Nobody is playing for Phoenix tonight. No Chris Paul, no Kevin Durant, no Devin Booker, no DeAndre Ayton. I mean, they are playing like the G League Suns tonight. So there's no excuse for the Lakers. If you don't win this game tonight, well, you got no kick coming to you, basically. All right, we'll keep an eye on the Mavericks post game, and hopefully we'll join Mavericks, our Dallas affiliate, shortly, because I want to talk to Mavericks fans tonight about the fact that their team basically mailed it in on them for the season. All things Bay Area sports. Recently had a chance to catch up with our friend Daryl Guru Johnson from 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. He does a terrific job out there on the midday show Monday through Friday. I'll have my conversation with him coming up in a couple of minutes here on the show, and we'll see what he has to say. Not just about the Warriors, but about all things West Coast, including the idea of maybe the 49ers taking a run. You know, the longer this thing sort of drifts on with Aaron Rodgers, the Jets, the Packers, maybe the 49ers get involved in the mix. We'll hear from Daryl Guru Johnson coming up in a few minutes and get his thoughts on that. Baseball in the Bay Area. Talk about that a little bit as well. There's still baseball games going on tonight. Tell you what's going on out there here in the last minute or so of this segment. Angels lead the Blue Jays 3-1 end of 4. Diamondbacks on top of the Dodgers 4-3, top of 7. Those are the two games still going on around the big leagues tonight. Tell you, Pirates have been putting up some numbers early on this year. Played the Red Sox to start the year. Now they're taking on the White Sox in Pittsburgh. Hit them up big tonight. 13-9. Was the final score. It's not a good start for our friend Lucas Giolito. Got roughed up. 4 innings, 12 hits, 7 earned runs. Yeesh. And he did not have a good season last year. He was trying to work on some things, so hopefully our friend Lucas Giolito could get it figured out. Tell you who's off to a good start for the White Sox, though. Lewis Robert. Hitting .361 in the early going this year. Had 5 RBI today, including 2 home runs. But all for naught. O'Neal Cruz and the Pirates get the win. At home, they beat the White Sox 13-9. All right, we'll come back. Daryl Guru Johnson, my conversation with him on the other side. Mavericks, I want to talk to you in Dallas. We'll continue to keep an eye on Mavericks postgame, any sound that comes out of there. It's the Cash In on SportsMap Radio. Belize. Dummy.
I mean, give me another team in history where one of the star players socked.
Daryl Guru Johnson and I were just doing our old show off the air for a couple of minutes.
We're like 4 topics in like 1 minute.
We did the rapid fire version of the old show on 95.7 The Game. That was fun. Oh, God. Love this guy. Daryl Guru Johnson of 95.7 The Game is our guest. You can catch him middays. Steiny and Guru. Days. Steiny and Guru. Now they're 4 hours, too. 10 to 2. Whew. It's big boy. That's big boy radio, man.
Yeah, I like 3. Don't tell anybody that.
Yeah, I like 3 a lot better too. And I used to do 5 and overnights, and now I do 3 at night.
Would you be by yourself, Jay? You did that by yourself?
I did 5 and overnights by myself.
That's why you're one of the best point guards I've met in the business, bro. And I don't give that out. You are, man. Yeah. You got to be skilled to do that, man. You got it.
It's definitely not for everybody. We'll just say that. We were talking about.
You got it.
It's definitely not for everybody. We'll just say that. This won't go in the podcast, Justin, because it was last night. Yeah. All right, keeping tabs on what's going on in the late NBA games. How about the Warriors showing out tonight? In Sacramento, up 14. Statement game? I'll say so. Warriors lead the Kings 69-55. Wow, it's Sacramento plus 16.5 on the live betting for that game. Could that be? Have they mailed it in? Have they benched their starters for the rest of the night? Doesn't look like it. No, they're still playing everybody. It's kind of an odd move. All right. Keeping an eye on Mavericks postgame. We'll let you know what we get there. My conversation, Daryl Guru Johnson was on the show recently talking all things Bay Area sports. And we got into it with him on a whole bunch of things, including the Warriors, the 49ers, the A's, the Giants, Lamar Jackson, you name it. We were talking about it with Daryl Guru Johnson of 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. We were talking about the Warriors. And like I was saying, I mean, it's hard for me to look at them the other night. I mean, I was crushing them for giving up 79 in the first half at home against Oklahoma City in a game that really actually means something to their playoff hopes. And then they lock it down in the second half, and I think they only gave up like 47 points in the second half en route to really what turned out to be a runaway victory. And that's why it's hard for me to not go with the premise that they're just a team that simply turns it on and off. And again, you mentioned it. They're a veteran team. They sort of know what it takes to win, so they feel like they can do that. Maybe all they think they need to do is make the postseason, and they can make a run.
Well, I'll say this. I don't think it's to that degree, because this will be the first time that they're not, they're starting out on the road. And, Jay, we're one game away from tomorrow night. I'll be in the building to Sac, from them losing to Sac, and then they be a part of this cockamamie playing game. So I'm with you. I was offended by that atrocious defense the other night. But, Jay, I don't believe they did that on purpose. This is a mixture of youth. It's also, I keep going to this, Clay didn't play, attrition. But this is what I'll say about the Warriors and why I think they're going to win. Jason, show me a team that is smart and has the IQ not to beat the Warriors one game, 4 out of 7. If you watch their brand of basketball, and I've asked the great minds in the game, why don't other teams try to duplicate what they're doing with the down screens, the cuts? They play a smart brand of basketball, and it's why Wiseman couldn't get it. No shade. and he's in Detroit. But that's going to take over that moxie. So no team, especially the Kings, great story. You think they're going to beat the Warriors
Nope.
4 out of 7?
Nope.
Denver, Memphis, with the strip club guy? Yeah, I love you. I had to throw that in there. But you know what I mean? They play a different brand of basketball. And until now, when we talk about the East, Boston again, redemption, and Milwaukee and Phoenix. But I'll tell you, Jay, I don't like what's going on with Middleton in Milwaukee. He exited that game last night after 6 minutes. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but the Warriors, you get the benefit of the doubt when you've done it as many times as they have.
Can I ask you a couple other Bay Area sports questions?
Take me. Go ahead. Fire.
Is this the Oakland A's last season in Oakland?
You know what? I thought it would be, Jason, but I don't think so. Manfred said that situation. Now, I got to back up here. He said this situation will come to a head this season. Right. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah, I did.
So I just don't see him leaving, Jay. And the rumor is that Vegas wouldn't even welcome the A's. Like, baseball is not what football was or the NBA or hockey to Vegas. I could be wrong, but to answer your question, I almost feel like he's stuck in Oakland.
Really?
Yeah, that's my two
They got to get a stadium, though. That's not a tenable situation.
Well, man, that's just it's embarrassing. And then did you see the report that came out 2 weeks ago? My Pirates and the A's were in like the top 7 Major League Baseball teams that turned a profit for like the A's were like 72 million, and then they put out their Twitter for the A's. Oh, you got to subtract 29 million. Okay, so it was 49, but you're operating like Major League, the movie. It is truly shameful what the Oakland fans got to deal with, man.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It certainly is. One about the Giants here, who have decided to basically go with a small ball team, it feels like. You know, this isn't going to be a team that hits for a lot of power. They're going to rely on pitching, defense, maybe some running. I mean, is that enough to even compete in the National League West when you've got powerhouses like the Dodgers and the San Diego Padres there?
Okay, I'm going to tell you this. You know I love the game of baseball. They're playing with a juice ball. I believe that with all these other rule changes. But, Jay, they hit 7 home runs the other day, the Giants. And then today in Chicago against the White Sox, they hit, I think, 4 or 5 more. So I was calling it small ball, but I don't know. It might be the long ball. And if they get that with their pitching, which is just okay, I feel like where they play on that said game or that series, Jay, will go a long way on what they're doing. But right now, they're boring, but they're hitting a whole lot of home runs today. And I think Gabe Kapler, I like that he's not a fake activist, that his parents were really, that meant something to him, right and wrong. But he got ran out of Philly because he was a phony. And Jay, when I start hearing him now, I liked him, but I'm starting to think, man, dude, we'll sniff you out here in the Bay. It might take a little longer, but I don't know how long his leash is, man.
Daryl Guru Johnson, our guest, 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. You can hear him middays there. Steiny and Guru, the tandem there, in 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the West Coast. Hey, give me a thought on, I was talking about this with a couple back-to-back nights. We had Nick Ferguson on, former NFL safety. And we got Jason Cole coming on next hour to join us, who does a great job. Yeah, we were talking about this whole Aaron Rodgers thing, and I'm starting to feel like the longer this drags out, there's a chance that he lands somewhere other than the Jets. And one of the places that keeps obviously coming to mind for obvious reasons, given his ties to Berkeley, is the 49ers. What is the conversation like in the Bay Area as it relates to Rodgers and the possibility that the Niners swoop in here at the 11th hour and try to get him?
You know what? He's bitter that they didn't draft him. All right, we know that. They took Alex Smith. And Aaron Rodgers, I forget LeBron, move over. You are the biggest narcissist I've ever seen in professional sports. But to your question, today, the whispers, the conversation started like, could Kyle go get him and bring him in? Jason, I think it's a long shot, but I'll tell you this. If I'm a Jet fan, I'm pissed off. And I'm pissed off because I'm starting to feel like this dude played us because what's taking so long, unless he's waking up watching the national shows, feeling good about him being talked about. But it would be everything if you got Aaron Rodgers to throw to Debo, Ayuk, and hand it off to McCaffrey and George Kittle. That would be wow. I just don't know if it happens, but I'm telling you, John Madden, rest in peace, said if you got 3 of one thing, you don't have one. I'm not mad at Darnold. He's kind of failed as a starter. Trey Lance, I never liked him. Purdy was a great story, but now his arm is wrecked. I mean, I could really see something go down if they could pull this off and bring Aaron Rodgers home. My goodness.
Let me ask you one before I let you go, because we were just talking about before we came back from the break. Lamar Jackson, what do you make of it?
I got to be careful here, but he's a black man, and so am I. So there's no racial thing involved. But he's being stupid. He's not reading the room. You're playing yourself, and the NFL told everybody before your contract situation jumped off, Deshaun Watson's contract was a mistake. And for whatever reason, I feel like he's on Twitter, TikTok, trying to get the biggest quarterback contract when, one, your passing ability, you're deficient. It is obvious you were deficient, but yet you're pulling this card as if, you're Joe Montana. I don't know what's going on, and I see him holding out, and he's going to hold out for the worst reason, Jay, because of pride. I'm with Baltimore. I don't know if you heard the GM I think today or yesterday. Hey, yeah, we got a quarterback on our draft board. We'll draft him. I think he's playing himself. And why? I'll leave you with this. Why isn't the line around the corner like it would be if Aaron Rodgers were available? Lamar has a false sense of self-worth, man. I really believe that.
I agree with you. I think that's a perfect place to leave it, because I'm 100% in agreement with you. And I've had arguments with so many different people about this who want to sit there and tell me that Lamar Jackson's worth every penny. He's won an MVP. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that he's missed 12 games the last 2 years. His completion
of the last 2 seasons.
He's primarily a running quarterback, and that's not something you could do forever.
Yeah.
He's 1-2 in the playoffs. Oh, I'm with you on it.
Jay.
I know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Last thing, and I don't think receivers want to play with them.
I agree with that. And that everybody talks about, well, why don't the Ravens go get anybody? Nobody wants to play there.
No doubt, Jay.
Daryl Guru Johnson, catch him over in middays, 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. Always good to talk to you, my friend. Don't be a stranger.
I love you, man. Stay in touch, Jay. You're my guy.
Yeah. We'll wrap up this first hour. We got a lot to do in the second hour of the show. It was a rather somber start to the show here in the first hour, talking about Tiger Woods. Man, that is a bummer. But we're going to spruce things up in the second hour, I promise. Continue to hit the text line for the text contest tonight, 888-670-8549. We're back with another hour of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. Stay with us. are we on in Dallas? Because I got to talk to Mavericks fans. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know what that fan base is like in the sports radio realm. I'm sure when it comes to all things Dallas Cowboys, Dallas sports fans are as rabid as anybody. Are they, if you're in Dallas or even if you're outside of Dallas and you're a Mavericks fan, are you mad that the team basically admitted to tanking tonight and decided to give away the chance to play in the play-in tournament? Said they'd rather have the 10th pick in the NBA draft? Which is going to be who? Which is going to be what? I'm telling you, it's nuts to me. Anyway, if you're listening to us in Dallas tonight, I want to know it. 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549 is the number. All right, 2:24 to go, third quarter. This Warriors-Kings game has been everything the Warriors have not been all season long. And it's just another one of these examples of, we talked about it with Daryl Guru Johnson on the show last night, and you heard the conversation tonight. This idea of a team being able to just flip the switch whenever they want. Is it something that, to me, it would drive me nuts as a fan of the Golden State Warriors to see the way this team has played at certain points this season. Oh, by the way, I'll do you one better on this whole Mavericks thing. Luka Doncic will not speak to the media tonight. Wow. That's all you need to know about the Mavericks organization. That's all you need to know about the Mavericks organization. Luka Doncic will not speak to the media tonight. That's just insane. ESPN Stats and Info put out an interesting number tonight. Spurs, Rockets, and Mavericks have all now been eliminated from the playoffs. Ready for this one, Justin? A little nugget for you. This is the first time all three Texas teams will miss the playoffs in the same season since the Mavericks became a franchise 1980. Never would have known that. It's the first time there will be no postseason basketball in the state of Texas since 1980. If I were Adam Silver, I'd say screw you. Now you don't get the 10th pick. How you like that? Wouldn't that be the greatest? You're tanking to get the 10th pick. Now you don't get it. How you like them apples? That's what Adam Silver should do. I know he can't, but he should. Wow. Oh, man. And what is that team going to look like next year? I can't wait to see. Again, if we're on in Dallas tonight, you guys hit me up. I want to know what you all make of the Maverick. Let's be honest. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke what that organization decided to do tonight. And they threw away another year of Luka Doncic's career. And I know we've gone through his contract situation before, so I'm not going to go like crazy with this. But his contract is such that, unless they were to deal him away, which there's no reason they would ever do that, he's not a free agent until 2027. That's it. The dude is signed. He ain't going anywhere. He's making, next year he'll make $40 million. This year he made 37. Then he makes 43. Then he makes 45. Then he makes 48 million. Luka Doncic isn't going anywhere. And then he's got a 15% trade kicker on top of that if he does get dealt. So, at the end of the day, while it, while it seems like his future in terms of winning, it isn't very good in Dallas. What's the alternative? You're going to sit there and collect paychecks and not win. You're going to basically be Damian Lillard. If Luka Doncic wants to know what's in store for his career, look at Damian Lillard in Portland. How many trips to the postseason has Damian Lillard made in what is sure to be a Hall of Fame career? How many times have we seen Damian Lillard in the playoffs? Not nearly enough, I can tell you that. And he's hell-bent on staying. Damian Lillard has been in the postseason. He's played 62 postseason games. He hasn't been there. He was last there in 2021. He's never made a deep run. He's won one playoff series, I believe. No, 2 playoff series. 3 playoff series? Okay. So 3 playoff series isn't terrible. But I mean, that's he's never sniffed an NBA title. And the same could probably be said for Luka Doncic at the end of the day. Just blows my mind. Text from James listening in Detroit. Don't be shocked if Mark Cuban is probably in Hollywood right now doing Shark Tank. No, he was at the game tonight. Mark Cuban was at the game tonight. That is confirmed. He was in Dallas. And you know what? I'll give him credit for this. I ain't going to give him credit for much. But I'll give Mark Cuban credit for being at the game tonight after he basically told his fans he was incinerating the final 2 games of the season and any chance to make the postseason. I will give him credit for that. He actually showed his face. It's just unbelievable. Warriors lead the Kings late third quarter. 83-70, Warriors on top of Sacramento. If the Warriors win out, they will be the 6th seed. If the Pelicans win out, they will be the 7th seed. If the Lakers win out, they'll be the 7th seed. So if the Warriors and Lakers win out, Lakers will be the 7th seed, Pelicans will be the 8th seed. Warriors will avoid the play-in and be the 6th seed. And tonight, from the looks of things, you're getting a Warriors team that is determined to hang on to that 6th seed. Now, granted, this game doesn't mean a ton to Sacramento. They do not have to go all out. They're locked in pretty much at 3. But we've seen the Warriors look lackadaisical at times this year. Sort of a unmotivated bunch. Tonight, by all accounts and everything I'm reading, the Warriors they came to play tonight. Lakers now lead the Suns. They've trailed all night in this game. Lakers now lead the Suns 72-68 out at Crypto in L.A. 7:31 to go third quarter. Lakers trying for a win that would, again, ensconce them in that 7th spot. And with a win on Sunday, would give them the 7th seed and home court advantage in the play-in tournament. Any news on? Is there anything? I didn't look today. We were expecting an update on Zion Williamson and whether or not he was going to play. It looks like the word from the Pelicans organization, Zion will not play in the play-in tournament. Shams Charania had it today. Pelicans have ruled out Zion Williamson for the play-in tournament. His status is in doubt for the start of potential playoff berth as well. David Griffin, Vice President of Basketball Operations with the Pelicans, said if you just look at the logistics of where we are, it's not possible to get the work in that would put him in a 5-on-5 workout in time to play in any play-in tournament game. Hasn't played since January 2nd. Give that Pelicans team credit. They have moved on without him. All right, stick around. Final hour right around the corner on this Friday edition of the Cash In at SportsMap Radio. It's alive. Yeesh. It's alive. What? Yeah, no. And there probably won't be much this hour either, quite honestly. Final hour of a Friday/Saturday edition of the show. SportsMap Radio. SportsMap Radio app. Keeping an eye on two late games of consequence. By the way, we'll have a full NHL playoff preview next week with Dennis Bernstein from thefourthperiod.com and SiriusXM. Look forward to talking with him. Justin Termini of SiriusXM NBA Radio on the show next week as well. Looking forward to that. Warriors taking care of business tonight. They are early in the fourth in Sacramento. They lead the Kings 90-73. This game has really broken every trend that we've seen involving the Warriors this year. Bad on the road, bad defensively. They're in Sacramento tonight, and they mean business. And again, this is not a Kings team that... I mean, they have a couple of their key players that aren't playing, but Harrison Barnes is still out there. Keegan Murray is still out there. I get it. Some of their big guns aren't there. I appreciate that, but this has been an impressive performance by the Warriors tonight on the road in Sacramento against a Kings team that, again, has the third seed locked up. And this is part of the problem late in the year, both from a betting standpoint and just a fandom standpoint. You've got teams that are making decisions to, thinking about ping pong balls, thinking about Victor Wembanyama, thinking about Scoot Henderson, you name it. There's a lot of ulterior motivations besides winning basketball games that are shaping the decisions of general managers. The biggest one of all today that we've spent quite a bit of time talking about on the show tonight, at least I have, was the Dallas Mavericks' decision to basically give up on the final two games of the season, choose the 10th pick over a spot in the postseason in the play-in tournament, which they could have gotten had they won out. And Oklahoma City lost on Sunday to the Memphis Grizzlies. And I want to know how Mavericks fans are feeling tonight. I mean, you just have to have a sense there is some disappointment in Dallas for this organization, knowing that another year of Luka Doncic's career basically goes down the drain. And if you're Luka, how does it bode for your future? I mean, how do you look at Mark Cuban and the Mavericks? I get the fact that they're paying him a ton of money. And Jason Kidd even said it when he was asked earlier today if he agreed with the decision. He goes, Mark Cuban and Nico Harrison, they're my bosses, so okay, I agree. But I don't see, if you're Jason Kidd, and we all know how fierce of a competitor Jason Kidd was, how could you stay with that organization? It's got to burn him to the core. It's got to burn Jason Kidd to the core that he had to go and tell that team, we're giving up on the season. And then you got Mark Cuban sitting in the front row tonight in Dallas, pretending that he's upset. I got to be honest, I've never been more disappointed in Mark Cuban than I am tonight. Because this decision was made by him. This isn't a decision that comes from Nico Harrison. This comes from the top. And Mark Cuban chose the 10th pick in the draft over an opportunity to play in the play-in tournament and maybe in the postseason. There's just no getting around that. There's no escaping that if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. If you want to text the show, go ahead and do it, especially if you're listening in Dallas tonight. I want to know how Mavericks fans feel about this. Are you actually upset about it? Or do you just not care? Are the Mavericks just an entertainment option rather than a rabid following? 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549 if you want to reach out to us on the Cash-In exclusive text line. As we mentioned, the game's in progress. Lakers lead the Suns 89-85. We'll continue to keep tabs on that. 1:53 to go in the third quarter. Warriors on top of the Kings by 13 with 10:17 to go in the fourth. If those two scores hold up, the Warriors will be the 6th seed with one game remaining. The Lakers will be the 7th seed with one game remaining. The Pelicans will be the 8th seed with one game remaining. The last of those two would be in the play-in tournament, obviously. Speaking of former Dallas, or Dallas in general, did you see Alden Smith's going back to jail? been ordered to spend the next 12 months in jail, TMZ Sports has learned. Former NFL star sentenced Friday inside a courtroom in Northern California after he pleaded no contest to a felony DUI charge stemming from a 2021 incident in Redwood City. And boy, the story of Alden Smith really is the ultimate cautionary tale, isn't it? Guy with all the talent in the world. He had the potential to be not just a good defensive player, but a great all-time game-changing defensive player. Spent some time in Dallas with the Cowboys. Was last with the Seahawks. Prosecutors tell TMZ, I should say, TMZ Sports, the ex-Dallas Cowboys pass rusher was remanded into custody after the hearing. He'll begin his year-long sentence right away. He was also given 5 years of supervised probation. He's 33 years old. Initially arrested in December of 2021. After authorities claim he rear-ended a truck that was stopped at a stop sign on a freeway off-ramp. Cops say when they arrived on the scene, he appeared intoxicated, had marijuana in his pocket, empty bottles of rum and vodka in his car. Because who doesn't, right? Who doesn't drive around with rum and vodka in the car? From where, you mind telling me? You know? Okay. 800-224-2004 is the telephone number. Eric is in Dallas listening to us on 97.1 The Freak. Eric, I got to say, I am disappointed with what I heard out of the Mavericks today and the result tonight. How do you feel? Let me ask you something. Do you want to see Kyrie back next year? Eric, I appreciate the call. The problem is they're at number 10. They have less than a 4.5% chance of getting the top overall pick. So, I mean, I can't go crazy about, hey, it's number 10, but they could get number 1. First of all, if you don't get the top 2 picks in this draft, who really cares? It's not a great draft after the top 2 guys. That's the first problem. The second problem is, why should I have any belief that this front office can do the right thing in building a roster when I've looked at the roster the last 2 years that they've put around Luka Doncic and it sucked? It stunk. They screwed up the Jalen Brunson situation. Mark Cuban can show any text message he wants. They screwed up the Jalen Brunson situation. Let him walk to New York. Then they go and make a trade and give up all the assets for Kyrie Irving, who didn't even have as good a year as Jalen Brunson did. And you don't know even what kind of headache you're getting with Kyrie Irving. Trust me, I do. I've followed him. I have zero faith in this Mavericks organization right now. From Nico Harrison to Mark Cuban, I've got zero faith in that organization to build a roster around Luka. And I'm sorry, you cannot tell a fan base, come and support us for 80 games, pour your money, your heart and soul into this organization, and then when we still have a chance to get into the play-in tournament in a wide-open Western Conference, that we're just going to walk away from that. Tell our team to tank. I'm sorry, it's a big problem for me. We're coming back. I guess we're on in Dallas. Yeah, just if you do tell me when we have a call, just say where they're from, just so I know. Well, and the Mavs are getting crushed on social media tonight, as they should. Absolutely getting destroyed on social media tonight. I mean, again, great. It's just, the Mavericks, this is a great point. Mavericks were 29-26 in fourth place in the Western Conference before they got Kyrie Irving from the Nets. They went 9-16 since the trade. Now, granted, there were some injuries involved in that. We got to be fair about it. And again, I wonder how far the changes go here. Does that include Jason Kidd? I think that's a very fair question. If you're listening to us in Dallas tonight, 800-224-2004. Well, from anywhere in America, for that matter. 800-224-2004. You want to text at the show, 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549. And I mean, look, I'm not comparing. I'm not trying to say one organization is better than another. But to Eric's point, who called us at the end of the last segment, I'm not trying to beat up on you, Eric. So please don't take this way. I just vehemently disagree with the idea of tanking. I think it's so demeaning to your fan base. I mean, the West is wide open this year. I'm not saying a team in the play-in tournament's going to win the Western Conference. But right now, it's hard for me to make the argument, other than Phoenix, for any team to run the gauntlet in the West, because I just don't have a big belief in a lot of these teams. And my question with Phoenix is whether there's enough continuity and chemistry there for them to be able to run the gauntlet. But take that and put it aside. Let's draw a comparison here. Los Angeles Lakers started out the season 2-10. They were terrible. Injuries to Anthony Davis, injuries to LeBron James, trading away Russell Westbrook, getting D'Angelo Russell, all these different moves that the team made throughout the season. Now, you can make the same argument about the Lakers, Eric, and any other Mavericks fan that's in favor of tanking. You can make the same argument about the Lakers that you just gave me about the Mavericks. Well, what are the Lakers going to win? I mean, are the Lakers really going to run through things in the West, come out of the Western Conference, and make it to the NBA Finals? What's the old saying? You miss 100% of the balls you don't swing at, something to that effect. But you don't know unless you try. You don't know unless you actually... This isn't some bold, noble move by the Mavericks to tell their fans, we're not going to insult your intelligence by making you believe that we could win in the West. This was cowardly. This was a coward's move. You've got one of the best players on the planet. And you sat him down early in the second quarter of a game that still had consequence as it related to playing in the postseason. There's nothing brave about that. There's nothing smart about that. There's nothing about that to be proud. I mean, you can only live off your, if you're the Mavericks, if you're the Mavericks in this organization, I'm sorry, I was distracted for a second. If you're the Mavericks in this organization, you can only live off 2011 for so long. If you're Mark Cuban, you can only live off that for so long. One NBA championship. 12 years ago. I'm sorry, you've been a franchise for 43 years. You've got one title. You got one of the richest owners on the planet. You've got one of the best players on the planet. And you tanked to get what is likely to be the 10th pick. Congratulations. And that's it. There's nothing bold or brave about it. You constructed a flawed roster, made an even more flawed roster, arguably by adding Kyrie Irving. I'm sorry, this is a failure at every level. It's a failure at the level of ownership with Mark Cuban. It's a failure at the level of operations with Nico Harrison. It's a failure at the level of head coaching with Jason Kidd. That's it. There's no other way to get around it. Anything else is a rationalization. Oh, I'm so excited to see what we do with the 10th pick and an offseason of what? Who's coming to play in Dallas in the offseason? Who are you putting around Kyrie and Luka Doncic? What's this roster going to look like next year that's really any different? You're not going to have Christian Wood. He's gone. It's just, I don't know what gets you excited. That's fine. That's fine that the Lakers don't have a first round pick. But the Lakers are still out there trying to win. They could have shut down LeBron. They could have shut it down. Quite honestly, I'm sorry. Anything outside of the first 2 picks in this draft isn't worth much. I got news for you. There's a huge drop-off after Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, which is why the odds on those 2 guys as it relates to odds for who gets drafted number 1 or number 2 drops way off. I mean, it's going to be Wembanyama, and Scoot Henderson in all likelihood will be number 2. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You want to text the show? 888-670-8549, 888-670-8549. I'm just saying, I don't know if you're a Mavericks fan, what gives you any faith when you look at the composition of the roster this year, what they did at the trade deadline, how it turned out, what should give you any belief that this offseason is going to be any different than the last? Oh, yeah, that last one when they let Jalen Brunson go to the Knicks. And don't tell me they couldn't have kept him, because they could have. So if you're a Mavericks fan and you're just trusting that this offseason is going to be different and next year Luka's going to be surrounded with something better, again, look at the West. The West is really good again. It's very competitive. There's a lot of parity, but there's a lot of good teams in the West. We'll hear from Jerry Bonkowski in this hour. Dirt track racing in Bristol. We'll get a preview of the NASCAR race this weekend on dirt on Easter night, which will be pretty cool. It's just about final in Sacramento. Warriors are a minute 6 left from getting themselves another win. 119-95 on the road in Sacramento. Kings sat some guys tonight that didn't need the game. Lakers starting to pull away from the Suns on a night where the Suns are sitting a whole bunch of guys. Again, it's kind of that silly season in the NBA. Teams have clinched playoff positioning. They don't need to play their stars, resting them for either the play-in tournament or, in this case, the actual playoffs. No Durant, no DeAndre Ayton, no Devin Booker, no Chris Paul tonight. Suns basically started their G League team. And the Lakers lead the Suns 107-98, 6:12 to go in the fourth. Again, a Lakers win tonight. They move up to the 7th seed, the top spot in the play-in tournament. The Pelicans will be 8th. The Warriors with a win tonight will still be in the 6th spot with 1 game to go. And again, if the Warriors lose their final game of the regular season and the Lakers win their final game of the regular season, the Lakers could wind up in 6th and missing the play-in tournament. All right, we'll come back on the other side. We'll hear from Jerry Bonkowski. Does a great job on NASCAR. Talk about dirt track racing in Bristol this weekend. It's the Cash In on SportsMap Radio.
team in history where one of the star players socked one of the up and coming star players right before training camp. Look around the league. Load management's the big issue. The Golden State Warriors, you think they're doing this on purpose with the stinky road record, 9-100, it feels like? So, Jason, every team in the history of the league gets this final exam. Let me show you who we really are in the playoffs. And that's the final exam. There's been some turbulence, but to say it's bad for the league, Nick, that blew my mind. Now, if you want to say Durant coming to the Warriors in 16, which I
Can you do me a favor? Can you get the Jerry Bonkowski interview on your end? Thank you. I had an issue with it on mine. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can. Love talking to Jerry, getting his thoughts on all things NASCAR. Lakers on the verge of wrapping up a win. It is just about final in Los Angeles. Lakers lead the Suns 121-105. So that will put the Lakers in a position to still be playing for something on Sunday. It also means they're going to have to play LeBron right up until the play-in tournament, which is probably not something that excites the organization. But, you know, I think when they made the decision to let him basically come back, when a lot of people thought he would miss the rest of the regular season, then you were making the decision to go all out after this play-in tournament, or the 6th seed as it would be. LeBron tonight, 16 in 29 minutes, so he hasn't had to carry a huge load. Good performance for D'Angelo Russell. He had 24. Austin Reeves, 22. So the Lakers on their way to another win. After starting out 2-10, they'll be 42-39. Do the math on that. They've been pretty good for a while now. We're back with more of the Cash and one more segment to go. Nope. Dude's becoming a baller. Yeah, Austin Reeves, let me tell you, if that team does anything in this postseason, he will be a big part of the reason why. He has balled out since, basically the last month. Go look at his numbers. The improvement is drastic. He really could. He really could. It sounds crazy, but he really could. And LeBron believes in him, too. I was just talking about it with producer Justin off the air tonight. Mention what you told me off the air about Austin Reeves tonight. What were you saying? Dude's a baller. I'm telling you, go look at the last 6 weeks of Austin Reeves, and all of a sudden you start to realize that dude can play. The more minutes he's got, 31 minutes tonight, 22 points, 9 of 13. He's not a bad player. He really isn't. Anthony Davis tonight, though, 14 and 21. And look, as much as we could talk about LeBron and all that, this team's only going as far as Anthony Davis takes them. I mean, LeBron can't do it alone. I mean, LeBron didn't have his best shooting night tonight, but it's enough. Lakers win. And again, to set up the scenarios here for you, the Lakers will play on Sunday against, let me make sure I get this right. Lakers on Sunday have the Jazz. And the Warriors, I know I've mentioned this before. Golden State gets, let's see here. Warriors finish with the Blazers in Portland. I wonder if Damian Lillard will even play in that game. But you'd have to like the Warriors. And look, I mean, the Warriors are 10 and 30, and this is still an amazing thing. The Warriors are 10 and 30 on the road this year. And with the 11th win of the year on the road on Sunday, they will actually be inside or outside the playoff, the play-in tournament bubble, and they'll actually be a top 6 seed, which is just impossible to imagine that a team that's that bad on the road this year could still wind up with a top 6 seed. So the most up-to-date standings now after the Lakers win tonight in the West. Denver number 1, Memphis number 2. Sacramento will be the 3 seed. So the 1, 2, and 3 seeds are done, as is the 4th seed with Phoenix. Then it gets interesting. Golden State is now at number 5 at 43 and 38. The Clippers are a half game back at 42 and 38. I don't have in front of me the Clippers. I can look and see what the tiebreaker is like against the Warriors. If both of those teams finish with the same regular season record. The Clippers have played the Warriors. Let's see here. Clippers and the Warriors. Clippers and the Warriors. Here we go. Clippers and the Warriors have played. How many times have they played this year? Could they just have the head-to-heads? Couldn't this just be easier than this? There's got to be an easier way to look this stuff up. So the Clippers beat the Warriors. Lost to the Warriors the first time they played. They lost to the Warriors. Boy, they didn't play him much. 1-1 against the Warriors. 2-1 against the Warriors. So they're 2-1 against the Warriors. So if the Clippers, if the Clippers wind up with the same regular season record as the Warriors, the Clippers will be the 5 seed. The Warriors will be the 6 seed. You'll get Golden State and Phoenix in the first round. Oh, my heavens. That is going to be, that is not meant to be a first-round matchup in the NBA postseason, but it will be. And the Clippers-Kings will be a fascinating series if that comes to fruition. Then you have the Lakers in the play-in tournament at 7, Pelicans in the play-in tournament at 8. if both of those teams win on Sunday. The T-Wolves would be the 9, and the Thunder now have already locked themselves into the 10th spot, so they'll be there. So that's where we are right now as far as the Western Conference is concerned. In the East, Milwaukee is the number 1 seed. They have clinched home court throughout the entire NBA postseason. Boston is the 2nd seed. Philadelphia is the 3 seed. It also deserves mentioning that if either of those 3 seeds are in the NBA Finals, they will host the NBA Finals because I believe they all have better records than anybody in the West. Certainly Milwaukee and Boston do. I shouldn't speak for Philadelphia because they have 53 wins. The Nuggets have 52. The Nuggets still have 2 games left. So I guess theoretically the Nuggets could wind up with a better record than Philadelphia, and in that case, if Denver got to the NBA Finals, played against Philadelphia, NBA Finals would be hosted by Denver. All that being said, Philadelphia right now 53-28. They're the 3rd seed. Cleveland is the 4 seed. The 5th seed is the Knicks. Cleveland and the Knicks will play each other in the opening round of the NBA postseason, what ought to be a really entertaining series. The Brooklyn Nets have locked up the 6th seed, which is still amazing considering all that team has endured this year. Miami is 7 in the play-in tournament, along with Atlanta at 8, Toronto at 9, the Bulls at number 10. Right now, the way it matches up is Philadelphia will play Brooklyn in the first round. Cleveland will play the Knicks. Those are the 2 series that we know for certain in the first round. So that's what we got as far as that is concerned. So you got a couple of days left now in this NBA regular season. A couple of games remaining for some teams. Some teams are going to have to go back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully for some of those teams it doesn't really matter. And then we'll have the play-in tournament. Masters tomorrow, they will resume play early because they got to finish the second round. Tiger got a birdie late on his front 9. The question remains, will he make the cut? We'll have to wait and see. Brooks Koepka right now to win the Masters is plus 150. Jon Rahm is plus 210 despite being 3 shots back. Colin Morikawa has the 3rd best odds along with Victor Hovland. They are both plus 1,700. Cameron Young is plus 2,100. Jordan Spieth plus 2,400 to win. We have any new Tiger wagers out there? Probably not. Probably not. Because the problem is they're still mid-round. So make miss the cut. Well, here it is. Make miss the cut on Tiger. And I got to say, I think Tiger will get through. Although, boy, tomorrow's going to be brutal for him. Because he's going to have to play 27 holes on that leg. If he makes the cut, he's going to have to play 27 holes at the Masters tomorrow. In cold, sort of dampish conditions after the rain. I wonder if, I know it's almost sacrilege to say this about Tiger Woods, but I wonder if he even wants to make the cut. I know what this tournament means to him. I totally appreciate that. But does Tiger want to make the cut just so he has to hobble around that course for 27 holes tomorrow and another 18 on Sunday? You know, basically playing his round as a ceremonial player. He is minus 215 to make the cut. So Vegas thinks he's making the cut. He is plus 138 to miss the cut tomorrow. Round leader odds. Brooks Koepka, again, keep in mind, we're still basically midway through the second round. Brooks Koepka is minus 950 to be your leader after the second round does conclude later on Saturday morning. Jon Rahm is plus 550. Victor Hovland is plus 50,000. That's about all you need to know about that. All right, that's going to put a wrap on us for this week. Nice job this week, Justin Barbosa. We worked together a lot this week. Much appreciated for your help. Next week on the show, Justin Termini will join us from Sirius XM NBA Radio. preview the NBA postseason. Be happy to get together with him. Our friend Dennis Bernstein from the fourthperiod.com will join the show next week for an NHL playoff preview. Can't wait for that. Yeah, the NHL postseason. That's when I get into hockey. You give me postseason hockey, I'll tune it in. And can the Bruins continue this remarkable season that they've put together and conclude it the only way, the only way it should conclude when you have this greatest season. The problem in the NHL is goaltending rules the day. So it's kind of tough. And will the Quinnipiac Bobcats win their first Frozen Four, win their first national championship in hockey? Quinnipiac and Minnesota play on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. I'm going to find a way to watch because I am a huge Quinnipiac fan right from my backyard in Connecticut. Good luck to Quinnipiac. Thanks for listening all week. I'll see you back here next week. I'm Jason Page. Bye. Justin, have a good night. Thank you for your help all week. All right. Thanks. Be well. Bye-bye. For those watching on the video side, thanks for it. I'll see you back here on Monday. I got to go walk the dog. Look at this dog. Let's give it a little doggy shot in the background. Come here, Dookie. Come here. Come here. Boy, there he is. Come, sit. Sit. Look at this dog. Who's a good dog? Who's a good doggy? You are a good doggy. All right, ready to go out? You ready to go out? Want to go for a walk? See how excited he is? Want to go for a walk? See, he even put on a show on camera. All right, that wraps it up for us on the video side. We'll see you all back here next week on SportsMap Radio, the SportsMap Radio app, and on any of these video streaming platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye.